Улс түмний нийтлэг эрхэм үйлсэд нэгэн тодорхой хувь нэмэр болно гэдэгт итгэл төгс байна. Та бүхэнд амжилт хүсье. Монгол Улсын ерөнхийлөгч намрын Энквайр Улаанбаатар хот 2009 оны 1-р сарын 27.
Thank you, Mr. Tedendam, and thank you for His Excellency, Mr. Inkbayer, President of Mongolia.
За энэ туран цугларсан та бүхэнд дэлхийн дулаарлын зэрэг хамтдаа байхын зэрэгцээ бие биендээ хүмүүний сэтгэлийн дулаарлыг хайрлахыг зурайлаа. Баярлалаа.
Next, to celebrate this important event, several respectable guests would like to convey their special greetings. And one of the greetings comes from Mr. Batbayer, Parliament member and Chairman of the Standing Committee for Food, Agriculture and Environment. Please welcome Mr. Batbayer.
Энэ үйл ажиллагаанд хүрэлцэн ирсэн ноёд хатагтай та бүгдийн энэ өдрийн амгалан айлтгая. Монгол орн дэлхийн уур амьсгалын өөрчлөлтийн нөлөөнд ноцтой өртөж байгаа улс орнуудын нэг гэдгэнд дамжиггүй юм аа. Сүүлийн 60 жилд Монголын агаарын температур дэлхийн дунджаас 2 дахин илүү дулаарсан бөгөөд манай орны нутаг дэвсгэрийн 85% нь байгалийн салхи болон уул уурхай, мал аж ахуй зэрэг хүний үйл ажиллагаанаас шалтгаалan ностой дороотолд ороод байгаа юм аа. Иймд хадагтай Чинхайн олон улсын нийгэмлэгээс зохион байгуулж байгаа дэлхийн дулаарл олон улсын баг хорлын энэхүү арга хэмжээг би цагаа олсон ихээхэн ач холбогдолтой үйл явдал гэж үзэж байгаа юм аа. Энэ баг хурл нь Монголын төр засгийн байгууллагууд болон ард түмний зүгээс уур амьсгалын хямралыг шийдвэрлэх тал дээр авч явуулсаар байгаа эерэг зүйтэй арга хэмжээ үйл ажиллагааг улам эрчимжүүлэхэд ихээхэн ач холбогдол үр нөлөө үзүүлнэ гэж найдаж байна. Энэхүү урлагийн үйл ажиллагаанд амжилт хүсье. Анхаарал тавьсанд баярлалаа.
Thank you, Mr. Batbayer.
Next, special greetings come from Mr. Patrick Holden, Director of the Soil Association in the United Kingdom. Let's now enjoy his taped video message.
My name is Patrick Holden, and I send greetings to Mongolia and to the SOS Climate Change Conference. I wish you well, and I hope that the result of your discussions makes a big difference to reducing emissions. Climate change is a really big issue facing us all today, and I believe the role of agriculture in our food systems has been underestimated in terms of what we can do about it, because it's a fact that, depending on how you calculate it, at least 20% and possibly up to 30% of total emissions come from food, from the farming system right up to our kitchens and our plates. And in that segment of emissions, industrial farming and the manufacture of nitrogen fertilizer in particular and the use of pesticides probably contribute up to 50% of the emissions before the farm gate. So if we can move away from highly industrialized farming systems which are using up to 10 calories of mainly fossil fuel energy to produce each calorie of food that we eat, to living within current solar energy input, this would be our goal for the future. And in that context, organic farming systems have a tremendous amount to offer, because by moving away from fertilizer to fixing nitrogen through leguminous plants using solar energy, this is the biggest single change that can be made in farming practice. And of course, traditional farming systems, particularly in so-called developing countries, have always done this and in many cases still are. So we need to learn from the wisdom of traditional farmers who have used solar energy to build soil fertility and operated on a local level. So really we are on the brink, I believe, of the end of the era of industrial farming, and the changes that we need to see over the next 10 to 15 years are probably the biggest that have been seen in agriculture since the Industrial Revolution. We need to switch from energy-intensive systems to relocalized food systems with a much more diverse mix of cropping and a dependency mainly on primary products such as vegetables and cereals, and we will move entirely away from animal production, because at the moment many hundreds of millions, even billions of farm animals are kept in inhumane conditions and never see the light of day, and their production is not only violent against nature, violent against spiritual practice, but it is also completely unsustainable. And it is not healthy to eat food with a violent future. So what we need to do is to shift away from those horrible systems towards systems which go with the grain of nature. One of the most exciting opportunities for organic farming is to lock up atmospheric carbon in the soil. And it's a fact that the arable soils of the world have been depleted of their organic matter during the era of intensive farming. But if we were to reverse that process and rebuild soil humus and perhaps increase the organic matter content of all the soils in the world by, say, 1%, this would represent an enormous reservoir of CO2. In other words, treating soil as a carbon sink may be a big part of the solution to addressing global warming, so that farmers, when they switch to organic practices, are not only producing food of more vitality and more in harmony with nature, they are also directly addressing climate change. And there is another aspect to organic farming, which is that it is now being discovered that the use of biochar, which has been practiced actually for millennia in South America in a form of agriculture called terra preta, where you stabilize biomass by creating carbon and charcoal, and you bury that in the soil, you not only lock up the carbon, but you increase soil fertility. Now this may have tremendous application globally for the world's farming systems if we're going to rebuild fertility and lock up harmful atmospheric carbon back into the soil. The Soil Association was founded on the philosophy of the interconnectedness of the health of soil, plant, animal and man, and I believe that philosophy is all-embracing. In other words, everything is connected, and if we can all work together for a common aim, it will be possible to avert an ecological crisis on this planet in a relatively short period of time, because I believe that all over the world millions of people not only feel a deep underlying anxiety about the violence that we've been practicing towards nature over the last century, but also hope that we can be the change, that we can make a difference, and that our individual actions count. So I wish your conference well, and it has the Soil Association's full support.
We would like to thank Mr.